You're listening to Filmmakers Drinking Bourbon.
Hey, what's up, Internet? This is Alex.
And I'm Brad.
And we're Filmmakers.
And we're drinking bourbon.
Yes, we are. Cheers.
Cheers, man.
Good to have you back.
How you doing?
So, Brad Golowin, who we've had on the show before, say hi to everyone.
Hello, Internet.
That was pretty good.
It's normally Brandon's line, but...
I know, I kind of stole it today. Welcome back, dude. Where you been?
I've been around the world.
Literally.
Where have you been?
Stuck right here in good old Cincinnati. Yeah. Where you been? You literally have been around the world.
Yeah, I went to Europe for about 40 days with a band. We were touring, and I was doing photo, video kind of stuff for them.
Wow.
And we went all through Europe, Paris, Luxembourg, Germany, Czech Republic.
Who was the band?
Red Sun Rising.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we did a video for them.
Yeah, we did.
We did. That was a while back, though.
Like 2 years ago?
I think so.
Yeah.
The Other Side. Crazy green and blue and twisty. I like it.
Yeah, ended up #1 rock hit.
It was number one for a while.
And then they followed that up with another one.
Another number one.
Another one.
Another one.
Yeah.
I get it. Cool. So how was the tour? You said you were doing video and stills. Were you using the same camera for both, or what were you doing?
It was different every night. I kind of just picked and chose what I wanted to do. I had a film camera, and I had just a, Mark III, Canon Mark III.
Nice.
And I was kind of just going back and forth between video and stills and just kind of all the content. And then when I got back, I had like a couple hundred photos, film rolls that I had to get developed, and I just got those back, and they all turned out really awesome.
Very cool. Was that mostly stage stuff, or were you also doing kind of like them on location in each country or city or whatever?
Yeah, it was on stage every night, and then we did like a bunch of candid stuff just behind the scenes. We're kind of like toying around with the idea of a documentary.
Yeah.
Just kind of seeing where it goes. So yeah, I'm just kind of getting everything.
Sweet. Did you shoot interviews too then?
Yeah. I did interviews like every other day. And then the band actually just put out a piece that I shot and edited where they kind of talk about going to Russia, which that was like, I couldn't go to Russia, which really sucked.
Because of like the visa stuff, or?
Yeah, like 3 weeks before they went, it's kind of when we all agreed that I'd be going with them. But like they said they needed like well over a month to get like all their paperwork done. And like even like a week before they were to leave for the tour, they still didn't know if it was going to clear or not. So for me to go, it was just like impossible.
Dang. Should just hit up Trump, man. Be like, hey, call your buddy Putin and get me in.
Call up Vlad. Give you the hookup. But
Nice.
But yeah, anyway, they just put out like a tour wrap-up video that I did, and they talk about going to Russia and how like crazy it was for them because they had like a huge fan base in Russia. And
Really?
like that was their biggest show. I mean, there were like 6,000 people there at that Russian show.
Wow.
And after the show, there were like people that stuck around and were like cheering for them, and it was crazy.
Man. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So what were some of the like big venues like in some of the other countries you did see?
One of the other biggest venues was in Prague, which Prague is amazing. Lots of shenanigans in Prague. But that venue is probably like 3,000 people. It was like a huge hockey rink, basically. Cool. Converted hockey rink into a concert venue.
Nice.
And then there are also ones that were like really small, like
Intimate.
700, 800 people.
That's still a pretty good size, though.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of like a little bigger than there's a venue in town here, Bogart's. Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty much that size, maybe a little bit smaller with like a balcony of people, but all sorts of ranges depending on where they're going. I mean, it was their first time ever in Europe. which is why it was cool to cover it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Sweet. So when you're doing these, are you on stage? Are you out in the crowd? Is it a little mixture of both for the video portions?
Pretty much wherever I can get. I mean, in like the smaller venues, you can't even, there's no barrier, there's no pit for photo video. So like that's not an option.
So the fans are right up against the stage?
Yeah. So in those, I tried to either just like go up on the balcony or just go on stage behind the band and kind of shoot out. And then in the bigger venues, kind of take advantage of having that room. But pretty much I just went wherever I wanted. There's even at that big show in Prague, I actually just went right on stage and stood like directly in front of the drummer and like just kind of blocked the view of the drummer.
Yeah.
But what we were doing is, every night I was taking footage for one of their specific songs because we're kind of going to do like a live video release eventually of that.
Very nice. So piece together all the different venues. And
yeah, it should be really cool.
Nice. Cool. So let's talk about this documentary thing. Is this just something you were collaborating with the band on? Is this something you came up with? How did this whole thing begin?
Yeah, it was kind of inspired. Well, I've known the band for like ever ago, since like 5 years ago. I did a couple music videos for them, like before they were signed. They're on Razor and Tie now, which is like a pretty big indie label in New York. They have like the Pretty Reckless and a bunch of other big rock bands, but it was kind of inspired by the Netflix series Making a Murderer.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's like that takes place over the course of like 10 years. So I kind of had this idea with the band, since I already have footage of them before they were ever even signed, that maybe it'd be cool to do a documentary that's like long term, that kind of shows them,
The progression.
rags to riches, sort of, them becoming the next whatever, Foo Fighters or being homeless in the streets.
I was going to say, not to like jinx it or anything, but it could go the other way. You could be following the story, and they could just be like, we're going to go off our own separate ways, and the band dissolves.
Yeah, that's what's crazy about it, is nobody knows what will happen, and could be anything.
So the essence of a great documentary is discovery along the way.
Yeah, so we're just kind of right now playing it by ear. It's not like there's any sort of like budget for it or that it's in production. It's just I'm sort of covering them as a band, giving them content now, and in the meantime I'm storing it, and we're kind of just seeing where this goes.
Sweet. So an interesting idea or question I just thought of. As you're doing this, say it goes on for 10 years, like a making a murderer thing. Do you keep shooting on the same gear to keep consistency? Do you evolve with the technology? Do you start shooting on 6K DSLRs or whatever when they come out?
Right. Well, in my mind, the plan is to kind of, the production value will evolve with the band getting bigger and bigger. So like right now, I'm sort of like intentionally shooting it pretty gritty. Like, normally the stuff we work on, we're shooting, on Red or Alexa and, awesome prime lenses and huge crew. For this, it's just like me with my 5D Mark III, like no lighting for anything, just running gun, kind of black and white, gritty.
Yeah.
Like just get the content. And so if this does happen, in my mind, it's kind of like by the end, then we're going to be shooting on whatever is the best of the best at that time.
With a crew, with lighting, with here's where we are now.
Right. And so as the band gets huge, you'll see that production value go along with it.
Interesting. I like the idea of that.
Yeah.
Visually oriented to their success.
Right.
Nice. Well, what else is going on, man? I mean, you've always got a bunch of stuff in the hopper, but you've also got a bunch of stuff that you've already done that maybe everybody hasn't seen yet.
Well, I have a short film that we filmed like 2 years ago now.
It was a while back.
Yeah. I think we shot it on like the original Alexa. Is that right?
The Alexa EV. Yeah, the classic version. No bells and whistles. Just the good sensor.
Yeah, with, what did we use? The Ultra Primes?
Ultra Primes. Super sharp.
Yeah.
T2 lenses, so fairly quick. Good package.
But so we've had that for a while, just kind of, we tried the festival circuit a bit, a couple small hits, but nothing big. So
It's a pretty abstract.
Yeah,
narrative.
I mean, it was never supposed to, it was very small, micro budget, just kind of shot it all in one day.
Yeah.
But still a really, I think cool story. But yeah, I'm looking to put that out maybe, I don't know, you want to do it today? Like right now?
Can we do that?
I don't know.
Are you willing to do that?
Do you guys have a website that we can embed it on?
No, this podcast has no media presence.
Then I guess we can't do it.
I'm kidding. Yes, we do. And
I
yes,
know,
we can.
I know.
And we will.
Should we throw that up there like right now?
Right now. So as you're listening to this podcast, you can go to ftbpodcast.com and there will be a link, a non-password protected link, because now it's out in the open, to Brad Golowin's short film Eddie. And you can check it out.
But if you're not an FTB listener through the weekend, you will not know that it's out there.
That's the only place you can see it, because this is an FTB exclusive
That Alex filmed.
that I filmed.
I directed.
Brad shot.
Which, by the way,
Brandon watched, so there's a tie-in
Did he?
there too. Yeah, sure.
last time I was on, he hadn't seen it yet.
Oh, he's seen it.
Cool.
He knows what it's about.
But anyway, I talked about it a little bit last time, but basic concept is it's about an old man who is basically obsessed with his neighbor. It's like a young female, college-age girl, and he kind of has a routine where he wakes up every day in the morning and he just kind of like creeps on her through the window. He's just staring at her as she gets ready.
Yeah.
And you kind of don't know where it's going to go from there.
Yeah, I mean, he could be, I'm just going to put my 2 cents in. He could be lusting after her,
That's
or
true.
he could feel protective in some form of other, connection.
Right. Or he could chop her up.
Or he could chop her up at the end. We don't know. There is that option. You'll have to watch and find out.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about Eddie for a second. How did you come up with that idea? Like, what was this something that just sprang out of the blue? Had you been thinking about it for a while?
Actually, it's, we shot it in the actual apartment that I was living in at the time. And it was like totally inspired by like real life events. Like
So you were the old man?
I am Eddie.
You were creeping on your neighbor.
Yeah, basically. No, like, you were obviously there at the location. You can see like at my window at the apartment, like sort of perfectly lined up with my neighbor's window. Mm-hmm. And we could see each other basically if we had our lights on, So she's probably creeping on me. But yeah, there was just one time where like my neighbor just like walked through and she wasn't nude like in the short.
You just gave away part of the
Well,
short.
I mean, it's in the teaser.
It is
It's
in the
kind of.
teaser.
So yeah, now we've got people excited.
Yeah, if you haven't seen the teaser, there's a nude woman.
Yeah. So anyway, this girl just kind of walked through real quick, like with her top off, and it like made me feel like really weird to just see that and like knowing that she didn't know that I had seen it.
Yeah.
And so I kind of got this idea that like.
So you took note of the time and you woke up at that time every day for the
Yeah.
next week.
No, that never happened again. But so yeah, that's kind of where the idea came from. And then I had known Eddie, the actor, whose actual name is Eddie.
Yeah.
And he's like, I mean, he's got this crazy look you can describe.
Dude, visually, like a tapestry for a face.
Yeah.
He's so many wrinkles and beard hairs, and I mean, you could just sense like what he's been through in life.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Like gray hair down
Yeah.
to his shoulders, massive beard.
Oh yeah.
Like sort of disfigured face, like a little
Kind
bit.
of. The nose canted a little bit to one side, but just
But like a great look.
a really great look. I mean, something you want to photograph.
Right.
Absolutely. Texture.
And so anyway, I just thought he would be really great sort of in that role, and then just kind of build a story around like why he lived there, what his motivations were, and went from there.
Nice.
And actually you were pretty instrumental in it actually being made because we were coming back from New York, a music video shoot that we did. And I kind of tossed the idea around to you and you were like all about it. And you're like, yeah, we should just make that. And then we got back and we just did.
Exactly. You just needed a little push.
We just needed
motivation.
We needed a really good grip gaffer.
Named Steven Elder.
Yeah.
God, tell us about Steven Elder. So if you watch the movie, you'll notice in the credits, that's the gaffer's name. Who is that guy?
It is Alex's alter ego. We, like I said, there's pretty much no budget for it. We kind of got all of our gear through, connections and,
I think we went through Ohio HD up in Columbus.
And Central Grip and lighting as well. Yeah. And they both really helped us out with getting us sort of the professional gear we needed so we could make a good film without much of a budget. But so yeah, that's where Steven Elder came into play because we had, two people on our crew?
It was me, you, and Anthony Schneider, who he's been on the show before. He was he was an editor with Leap Frame. He's now out in L.A. working at eFilm, I believe. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think it was me, you, him, and did we have somebody else?
I don't think so.
I think it was just us three.
Yeah, so basically we had one, non-director DP crew member. Mm-hmm. And then Steven Elder basically is what we call Alex when he kind of does everything and he DPs and gaffs and grips.
That's funny.
So we just made up a name for that.
It was some mixture of my actual name because my middle name's Steven, and then Elder was the beginning of Elkins and the end of Alexander. Mm-hmm. Steven Elder.
Right.
Yeah, that's how it came about.
I randomly added Steven Elder to a different video just because I wanted to the other day.
Really?
Yeah.
Just for the hell of it?
I was like, let's just get this name out there and make people think this is like a real person they can contact.
He's got to be a gaffer, though.
Yeah.
That's funny, man. Well, very cool. So you entered the film into festivals once it was done. Did it do well? Did it not do well?
I mean, it didn't do well because, obviously you're hoping to get some sort of big recognition out of it. And that didn't happen. I mean, there were like 3 very small festivals that accepted it, showed it. But that's they're so small that it's kind of like, do you even include them on the video? You know what I mean?
Sure.
So it's good that some people recognized it, but it never got the big hit that everybody wants or anything like that.
Yeah, but it wasn't really meant to be a commercial success or anything. It was kind of just a story you'd had and just wanted to do.
Yeah. And I'm super happy with it. It just is it has a really cool ending that I think sort of connects with people. Everybody that I've shown it to kind of really likes that part of it. So
I think music was crucial to that film.
Yeah.
So the ending song and some of the score throughout. Who do you remember who did the score? Who did any of the music, the post-audio stuff?
Oh, you're going to put me on the spot now. I'm going to have to... You actually recommended him to me, I think.
Yeah, he was in Columbus.
Yeah. For some reason, I can't think of his name at the moment.
I'm blanking on his name, too.
All I can think of is Adam, which it wasn't Adam.
He's the only sound audio guy.
But I think it's
well.
The reason I can't remember is
Jeff.
Jeff Gellert.
Gellert, yeah.
Yeah.
Jeff Gellert. Shout out to you, Jeff. Thank you for putting the audio.
Yeah, sorry, Jeff. Him and I actually had never met, so since it was a reference through Alex, and I haven't looked at the credits in a bit, I kind of blanked there. But actually, there's another Columbus band called Kid Runner who let us use one of their songs that kind of happens at the emotional climax of the movie. So I was really happy that they did that.
For sure. Didn't Anderson Cale have a...
Yeah. And then Jesse Cale, who I've known for a while, he has a band called Anderson Cale, and he does a lot of his own music. They lent one of their old songs to the film as well. So
nice.
Really cool soundtrack for as short as it is. It's only 8 minutes long, so...
Yeah. But a lot happens in 8 minutes.
Especially nudity.
Man, you're just plugging that.
I'm trying to sell the nudity.
Yeah. If you want to watch a nude person.
If you want to see a 70-year-old man. No, that doesn't happen.
Yeah, I don't think we should go there. Anyway. All right. So short film done, in the can, released on fdbpodcast.com. What's next in the narrative realm for Bradley Golowin? I'm going to call you Bradley from now on. because I like the way that
I
sounds.
don't even know who I am anymore. Am I Brad or Bradley?
To me, you're always Bradley.
But you call me Brad.
Only when I'm angry at you.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking about maybe changing my professional name to Bradley.
Should we have the listeners weigh in on that?
No,
I think we should.
they don't care.
I think, do you like Brad or Bradley better? That's just a question I'm going to pose. You can answer if you want. You don't have to.
My family calls me Bradley. Like, that's my birth name, but
Yeah.
my friends just call me Brad.
I don't know if I ever knew this, but what's your middle name?
My middle name is Ross.
Ross.
Bradley Ross.
That's a detention, like grounding name. Bradley Ross.
I don't know.
When you're doing something bad.
I always think of Friends. Ross from Friends. David Schwimmer.
Schwimmer.
Yeah.
Do you think he was a good swimmer?
I think he was, yeah.
All right. Anyway.
What
Right.
were you talking about?
Narrative filmmaking and what's next for Bradley Ross. Which that should be your name now.
No.
Drop the Golowin.
Just drop my last name.
Yeah, Bradley Ross. Done.
What's your middle name?
Steven, I already told you.
Oh, yeah.
God, you don't listen.
Well, I don't know. Anyway.
Narrative filmmaking. What's next?
I've been working on a screenplay for quite a while now. At least it seems like it, because you're always like wanting to see it. I think you've given up hope.
I'm a pusher. I just push you.
Been working on it for about 1.5 years now, and that's not to say I'm like sitting down every day and writing it.
You should be.
I know I should be, but I'm kind of taking my time with it. And the thing about it, it's a World War II like period piece. So like there's a lot of information to be gathered, and I just keep finding new areas of inspiration and learning new things about the time period.
Yeah.
That it's hard to sort of settle on my final screenplay.
So you're doing your homework.
Yeah.
How did this idea come? I mean, you don't have to say what it's about or anything
I
of
can
that.
say what it's about.
Well, okay, fine. Let's start there. What's it about, and how did you come up with this idea or even begin to want to do a film on the topic?
It takes place in 1943, Nazi-occupied Poland at a concentration camp. So it's definitely not...
So it's a light romantic comedy.
Yeah. No, it's pretty heavy and dark drama. And it's basically about a Nazi doctor who conducts experiments on his patients. And it's not like horror at all. It's just really sort of mundane, but violent and just, very sad. And the basic premise of it is that he has a patient who he ends up developing feelings for, and then he sort of has an existential crisis on where his loyalty lies, whether it's with the Reich and sort of his mission, or whether it's with the person that he loves. And then
Interesting.
kind of has to make a decision there, and a lot of messed up things happen.
Wow. That sounds intense.
Yeah.
It
Very
also
intense.
sounds, very, like you're saying, historically involved information-wise.
Right.
So does it take, can you talk about the content, like where it takes place action-wise in this type of environment and what all we would see or not see in the film?
Right. Well, if it's ever going to get made, it's got to be, I can't just write the most, it's not a Steven Spielberg.
Can't do big battles on the beach. Or,
Right.
Yeah.
So it mostly takes place within the doctor's actual like office at, theoretical Auschwitz, basically. That's kind of what it's modeled after. But it's not so truthy that it's trying to say this happened at Auschwitz. It's just at a concentration camp, and this could have happened.
Yeah.
So most of it takes place within that room, and then also back at the doctor's like living quarters. And there isn't really, it's very limited with the amount of actual characters. So it's pretty heavy with the dialogue. But there's also quite a bit of action in the sense of one-on-one, because like I said, he's conducting, messed up experiments. But there isn't any sort of grand, like, 100,000 prisoners shot or anything like that.
Yet.
It's more, yeah.
You're still writing.
Right. There won't be.
Gotcha. Cool.
But,
well, can I let me ask something real quick. So in your travels through Europe, in our talks, you had a location that you were really interested in visiting, both personally and because it might provide some insight to the script. Can you talk about that?
Yeah. When I was in Poland, the band, like I said earlier, went to Russia, and I couldn't go, so I kind of just waited for them to swing back around and join them for the second half of the tour. So I got to stay there for 8 days in Krakow, which is right next to Auschwitz. So I definitely took the opportunity to go there. And I mean, it was just super heavy, and, what can you say about it? And, it's like, I remember at Auschwitz 1, there was one room that we walked into, and it was just the entire room basically behind a glass display was full of like human hair, like from the floor to like, the ceiling, just old, matted, like human hair that was left behind. And it's just, I mean, you have to see it, what can you say about it?
Impactful. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that was heavy for sure. And then I got to go to Auschwitz 2, which is like 5 minutes away. And that's the location that you always see in the movies that has like, where they arrive on the train. And they sort them 1 or 2, live or die. And that's where that is. And it just, they've got like a memorial there, and they've got like, I went on like the extended tour. Like a lot of people do like 2 hours, 3 hours. I did like a 6-hour full day, everything they have to show anybody I got to see. So like I went all the way to the back, like past the train tracks into the building where like they actually had the people like winding through the corridors, cutting their hair, taking their clothes off, and then they, go into the gas chamber. So I actually got to like see that stuff. It was crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can only imagine how much of an impact that would have had.
Yeah, and then like at Auschwitz 1, the gas chambers at Auschwitz 2 are like, they're sort of in ruins now. But at Auschwitz 1, they did have like a smaller gas chamber that I got to go into, and you could see like on the walls, there's like scratch marks, and like the room just feels like super cold, and you can see like over in the corner, like the crematorium where they burn the bodies. And so, yeah, not a very fun subject, but definitely an important one, and, something that's important for people to remember, you know?
Part of human history. I mean, it's not going away. It happened.
No.
Wow. So what differences or what changes, if any, did you make to your script after witnessing that?
Well, the weird thing about being there is that when I went, I was expecting, like, it definitely was emotional and heavy, but I expected it to be more than it was. I expected to, like, I don't know why, like, as if I would see the crimes happening, and it's just not like how it was at all. Like, it was just full of like tourists. Like, it was a really weird thing, and it was like a 70 degree day, and it was sunny, and like some of the old buildings like looked beautiful, and yet such bad things happened inside of them. So, but to answer your question, the most valuable thing was actually just seeing like the layout of the land, what the buildings look like, walking through the guards' quarters, the doctors' quarters, and just being there, having a sense for the physical space and what it would have been like. I had no idea what it, just seeing it on like movies and TV, you're just seeing little angles showing whatever they want you to see. But like now I actually know what the space was like, and I feel like that's really valuable.
Absolutely, because it helps you construct your world in the film.
Right.
Interesting. Were you ever you kind of forcibly, like, did you go in thinking about the film and, okay, how's this going to affect what I write, blah, 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 but then at some point you were just unable to even think about your film because of these events or things you're witnessing? Kind of a weird question, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know. I wasn't really directly thinking about my film when I was there. I was just sort of trying to process all the information. And I mean, our tour guide was like an expert on like all things Auschwitz and World War II, and just sort of learning all the different facts that she knew was amazing. So sort of just processing it later on rather than in the moment, like, you know, thinking about my film per se.
So you're fully involved, just I wouldn't say enjoying, but learning and experiencing.
Right. Yeah.
Cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
What an experience. I mean, I'm jealous. I haven't gotten to really experience anything so important to our history.
Yeah, it's really weird. And I mean, that was like a part of also why I wanted to go on the tour, because I knew I would be like right there and have that chance to do that. But yeah, I think that experience will, it'll give me a perspective that, a lot of other people don't have, and people writing about that time, unless they specifically go there, also wouldn't have. So
yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, I'm honestly excited to read the script once you're done with it and see what we can get going. What's next for you? I mean, we talked about music, the music video realm with Red Sun Rising, and got anything in the works music video wise?
Nothing big. I mean, we have you and I, if you remember, have a small shoot next week.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
For just a local rock band. But yeah, besides that, I'm sort of trying to transition away from music videos in general. And just, that's kind of why I was talking to you about maybe changing my name.
Yeah.
Just to sort of brand myself more as filmmaker, editor, and even photography wise, I just want to get into doing more, not like live photo photography, but just sort of fashion-y kind of stuff.
Nice.
So kind of just want to be that rather than rock music video.
So kind of a new direction, almost an entirely new business for you.
Yeah. And it's really tough to figure out how to change it, because people sort of know me for certain things, and it's hard to know how to get to where I want to be without completely abandoning other things that, bring in money that I do. And
yeah. Well, I don't think you have to. I mean, honestly, just from my point of view, I think you can take the skills, the vision that you have on certain other projects, say music videos, rock, metal music videos in particular, take that thread of kind of creative vision that you have and apply it. The trick is just showing or getting people to understand how that vision can be applied to other avenues like commercial or fashion or whatever.
Yeah, I feel like there's a certain stigma with the kind of the rock metal video world, and I feel like, in a sense, to be taken seriously as a filmmaker, if you have, like, let's say on Vimeo, like a film that is right next to like a rock video, I feel like people won't appreciate that as much as if you just had a certain type of work, which is the work I want to move towards, but not where I'm at yet.
I've got a simple solution for you.
What's that?
A separate Vimeo channel.
I know.
Or a separate website, or a separate, there is a way to kind of delineate, to be like, this is Brad Golowin, metal director, rock director. This is Brad Golowin, fashion photographer / dramatic filmmaker.
Right. So I've been thinking about like a new production company maybe, or just changing my name. And so that's kind of what I'm in right now, trying to figure out what the next step is, the best way to sort of brand myself to move into doing what I really want to be doing.
Nice. I mean, that's almost where, I wouldn't say almost, that is where people even starting out, like maybe thinking about getting into the industry or any of that jazz, they're trying to figure out, okay, how do I brand myself? How do I even begin to kind of pitch myself to potential clients? Do you have any advice, like going through this process yourself? Say someone's starting to even think about getting into the industry and they have a specific vision. Do you have any words of wisdom that you've learned throughout this process?
Well, I know what makes it difficult for me is that I do so many different things. Like I direct music videos, films. I edit all the music videos. I edit films. I edit corporate. I color sometimes. I kind of do everything. And so in that sense, it makes it difficult for me to kind of brand myself as like just a director. So I'm not saying necessarily not to do more than one thing, but I feel like it's definitely easier for people to kind of be known for something and get somewhere if they're just, a director of photography rather than, for a while I think you were doing several things and then you kind of decided just to be director of photography.
Yeah.
So I think when I first started, I kind of felt like the more things I do, the better. But now I'm kind of feeling like it's better to just do one or two things and then be really good at them. You know what I mean?
So the old adage, like jack of all trades, master of none kind of philosophy.
Right.
My question with that, side note, is it possible to be a master of multiple things and a jack of some? The inverse?
I think so.
I always think of like a Steven Soderbergh type of individual who writes, produces, directs, shoots, edits all of his own stuff, most of his own stuff.
It's possible.
Yeah.
It's possible.
Anyway, so what you're saying for people entering the industry or thinking about entering the industry, if I can distill it down into kind of like a single thought, is be specialized. Would that be safe to assume?
Yeah, I think if you're trying to get, for example, editing work, but people sort of know you as a grip and, a director and an editor and a writer and an AC, I don't think people are going to think of you first when they need you for the editing job because they're not going to think of you as an editor. They're going to think of you as
an also editor.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So
cool. What about style? Do you think it's possible to have multiple styles or multiple points of view? Or do you think along with the skill specialization, one should try to kind of limit their scope or vision to a specific track?
I think it's definitely, I have several different points of view and styles, and that's what I'm struggling with now. I feel like, for example, on like Instagram or something, one day I'm posting like, a picture of a rock band, live concert photo. And then the next day it's of, a model in a studio, and they're so different that I feel like I'm never going to get that following of people that like this thing because people like things to be more specialized. So I think it's definitely possible, but kind of going along with the, jack of all trades thing, I think it might be better to sort of find your point of view and sort of hone in on that and just really perfect that. At least that's where I'm at now,
No, I feel you. I mean, where, like you alluded to earlier, where I started out was kind of in this discovery phase, and I was like, oh, I should just do everything. I should do everything, and then I still had this forethought, like, okay, once I do everything, once I've experienced all these different jobs, classifications, whatever, I'll have a better understanding of where I eventually want to go. And I wasn't in any rush. I kind of like, oh, okay, I'm going to AC a bit, grip a bit, do some electrician work, do some gaff work, key grip, camera operate, whatever. And eventually, all those different experiences will motivate me towards one specific track, whether it be DP, director, writer, whatever. When you think of the top tier dogs, producer, maybe, I don't know. I didn't know. But through the lighting, the grip, the camera work, all that, and experiencing what the top dudes did, I was able to see, oh, okay, I want to be a DP.
You realized what you wanted to do.
I don't want to direct. I've got ideas, but also as a DP, you have influence on the final project. And not that you should force your influence, but in working with you and Brandon and other directors, it's, okay, yeah, we can kind of craft something and you have a say.
Right.
So it just depends on what you ultimately want. I think experiencing all that stuff as a newbie, as a kind of beginning green dude, is valuable, but go into that realizing that you're eventually going to have to choose a path.
Right.
You can't just be everything forever.
Yeah, you can't just, exactly.
Yeah. Very cool. Well, in influencing what your stylistic choices, in what you want to do, is there anything you're watching that's kind of helping that mindset along?
Right now, I'm watching Black Mirror. Have you heard of that?
I love it.
Yeah.
UK, a British series, a really dark, sci-fi, twisty, crazy.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's on Netflix. I'm like halfway through it.
Season 1 or season 2?
Well, actually, I watched season 1, and then the other night, I don't know how it happened, but I ended up watching the first one of season 3, which is like never happened before.
There's a third season?
Yeah.
Oh.
Which has never happened before.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But
that's the new one.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter because it's an anthology. Like each episode is different.
Yeah.
And they all kind of carry the same theme of technology and kind of like where we might be going in the future. And like that first episode, how messed up was that?
Of season 3 or season 1?
1 with the pig.
Oh my, yeah, the politician and the pig or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, like this
crazy
politician wakes up, like he's woken up in the middle of the night and he's like brought downstairs.
Yeah.
With his like core group of advisors, and there's like a terrorist that has basically taken like sort of like the princess,
his daughter,
basically, yeah. But somebody that the whole country reveres.
Yeah.
And they don't want money. They
just want him embarrassed.
Yeah. You don't want to go there?
We can. The whole deal is we'll release your daughter if you how do I put this radio safe? If you
copulate with a pig.
Copulate, that's a good word, with a swine.
On live television.
And
then if he does that, they'll let her go.
Yeah. But there's a twist that we're not going to give away. But
that's the basic.
Whew, it's intense.
It sounds kind of ridiculous, but it's really well done.
Oh my God, the tension and the like, if he's going to decide to do it and how.
Yeah, it goes from like, are you kidding me? There's no way. Like, why would I do that? Like, this is ridiculous.
But I mean, the other side of the coin is if he doesn't, she's going to die.
Right. And then there's like mounting public pressure that like, why don't you just do this and you'll save her life?
Yep.
So
it's, oh my God.
But yeah, it's really good. I would recommend checking it out.
Yeah.
Black Mirror.
Each episode's about an hour long. So it's kind of like a feature investment in time. But the new season's really good. I've watched 2 of them.
Yeah. The one that I watched the other night was amazing. The first one.
Was that the social score thing?
Yeah. Like it's like everything that people do in this scenario is like based on their score, like out of 5, and like people exchange instead of money. Like you rate somebody when you walk by them, and they'll rate you back. And if you drop below a certain, like the lady wanted to be a 4.5 so she could afford a house.
Yeah,
but she just kept falling down, and
it's intense, and it's almost a really depressing extrapolation of where our current society could go with the selfies and the pictures of your food or your coffee,
exactly,
or whatever. It's just like, oh my God,
like
nobody cares how many likes. Come on.
Like there's one shot where she's at a coffee place and she's got a coffee and like a cookie, and she bites into the cookie not to eat it, but just to get the perfect bite mark on it so she can put it down on her plate and take a picture of it.
Yeah.
It's
so messed up.
Yeah.
But the subtlety and the way it delivers those ideas is crazy. Love that show.
Yeah. It definitely has a lot to say about where we're at, you know.
Societally. Anyway, cool. So, TV shows, any movies?
Movies.
Yeah.
What's the last movie that I watched?
Docs or features or narrative?
Man, I've really been into the TV shows lately.
Really?
What about you?
What have I watched? We went and saw, it's not doing very well on Rotten Tomatoes. We went and saw Passengers with Chris Pratt and...
Jennifer Lawrence?
Jennifer Lawrence. I loved it, honestly. Yeah? I thought it was fantastic. It's a definitely kind of popcorn fare. It's not
What's like the basic premise?
The premise is 5,000 people board a spaceship and are put into cryogenic hibernation on their way to another planet to start a new world, a new colony for human population. The trip's supposed to last like 94 years or something, basically 100 years. Chris Pratt, due to a glitch in the system, is woken up after X amount of years, like way too. He's still got like 94 years to go, right? So he's going to die on the ship, basically, now that he's woken up. So he tries to solve the problem, blah, blah, blah. He's faced with a dilemma, and it's kind of how he goes about solving that, but it's really, really interesting.
Yeah, I feel like any
I can't give away too much. Like,
anything that takes place in outer space,
I love.
You like it.
Love it. The darker, the better, honestly. Alien, Event Horizon. I mean,
dude, that movie's creepy.
Event Horizon's amazing.
That movie like creeped me out when I was little.
Yeah. What's his name? Sam
Neill.
Yeah. Jurassic Park guy.
Yeah, that Chloe bit, that whole part. Anyway, nobody's seen that movie that's listening.
No. You should. If you have not seen Event Horizon and you want to be both terrified and entertained at the same time, go watch it.
I can't actually remember if it's a good movie or if I thought it was.
I love it.
I just remember being like a young child and watching it and being terrified.
Yeah. There were a couple times in college where me and my buddy Joel, we'd both seen the movie. But at the end of a long night, you'd had fun, whatever, partying, etc. We're like, I want to watch a movie. Let's watch Event Horizon. We'd always start it, like literally 6 or 7 times. We'd start the movie, get about 40 minutes in, and everybody would fall asleep.
Yeah. So you're saying it's a great movie.
It's fantastic. Yeah. That and Starship Troopers are 2 movies that I could watch on repeat probably for the rest of my days.
I've never seen Starship Troopers, but I'm guessing I can speak for Brandon and saying it's probably horrible.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
That sounds like borderline superhero.
No, it's like commentary on government propaganda mixed with sci-fi action amazingness.
All
Seriously.
right. I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, it kind of goes along with like your Nazi thing.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's like a futuristic society all under kind of one government control. Their emblem, all the officials wear gray and black. Their emblem's an eagle. Everyone has to do like government service in order to be considered, quote, a citizen. Otherwise, you're just a person. You have no rights as a citizen if you don't do government service. So your main character decides, I'm going to be a mobile infantryman. And they have this ongoing war with the arachnid, the bug species from another planet. It's really cool.
Is Tim Allen in that movie?
No.
Do you know the one that he's in?
Tim Allen.
Yeah, I think I'm getting it confused.
Oh, the comedic Galaxy Quest.
Yeah.
No, that's not this. That's a funny movie. This is
okay.
Not supposed to be funny propaganda film. Yeah.
Okay.
Really good. You should check it out.
All right.
Directed by Paul Verhoeven, who did RoboCop and Total Recall. Really good movies.
Cool.
Yeah. He's a Dutch filmmaker that got kicked out of the United States basically because he wouldn't make the films people wanted him to make.
We watched RoboCop 2 on the tour bus when we were in Europe.
Yeah?
I mean,
why not one?
I mean, we didn't like just have any movie that we wanted.
It's called the internet, Brad.
It was whatever. There was a DVD. They had a DVD player on the bus. So we were just going with whatever was on there.
Gotcha.
So not a lot of great movie watching, but...
Nice. Do they have... Okay, speaking of them, can you speak for them? Do they have a visual style, a movie they like? Red Sun Rising, that is? Was there one thing that came up over and over again throughout your trip where you're like, oh my God, this movie?
No, I don't think so. I mean, they're all just like five guys with different taste, and I don't know that they have one style to point to.
Yeah, I'm just curious. There's some groups of people that are like, oh, we always watch this movie.
We watched Spring Breakers a couple times. Did you ever see that?
Spring Break.
Yeah.
James Franco.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
And who's the rapper with the ice cream tattoo?
I don't know. I never paid attention.
Whatever.
That movie is ridiculous.
Yeah, Harmony Korine. Did you ever see any of his other films?
Yeah, like Gummo.
Gummo. Crazy. Or he also did a music video for Die Antwoord.
Yeah. Which one was that?
I forget which one it is, but it's a narrative, kind of weird style one. It's not just a performance video.
Yeah, he has an odd taste as a director.
Yeah. Nice. Well, what's next, man? Anything we didn't cover? Where you going? Any questions you have?
I have a question for you. Like, I haven't talked to you. Like, what have you been up to?
I figure we're going to do that later off the air.
I mean, we can if you'd like.
What's up?
We just hadn't talked about the last film you did and everything.
UFO?
Yeah.
I think I talked about it a little on the show.
Did you? Did you already cover it?
No, maybe not too in-depth. What questions do you have?
I don't know. I'm just wondering how it went and what do you have coming up next?
So I was on this movie in town called UFO. I was the A camera operator. It was great. I mean, it was not like huge budget. It wasn't a huge star. I mean, we had Gillian Anderson, who played Scully in The X-Files. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
And she was great. And it was really nice working with her. She was very, there for the movie and for the story and not pretentious or anything like that. It's a really nice kind of break from the kind of classic stuck-up Hollywood star norm that you're used to hearing. There are also a lot of really generous, talented, dedicated individuals in the business. So,
Right.
So it was cool working with her. It's a story right along my alley. I mean, it's sci-fi-ish in the sense that people in Cincinnati witness a UFO event at CVG Airport. A kid, Derek, doesn't believe the official story that it was a drone. He does the math, figures out it wasn't 4 feet across, it's 88 feet across, does all this digging, trying to prove that it was actually a UFO and not a drone.
Yeah.
Comes to a certain conclusion, etc.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah, really good. Right up my alley.
Yeah.
Really good experience. It was mostly dolly work. So I was working with the dolly grip and doing these nice long, in the DP and doing these nice long tracking, booming shots. There's a little bit of handheld only when it was useful for like a sequence where military men abduct the main character to show kind of action and panic. But it was great. I had a fantastic time.
What about the new one? Have you talked about that at all, or is that...
Maybe. I don't know if I mentioned it all, but I'm on a new movie. I wouldn't say unofficially, but I got my, hey, welcome to the team letter.
Okay.
So I'll be B camera operator on the new Emilio Estevez and Alec Baldwin film in Cincinnati called The Public.
Sweet.
Yeah. So it centers around the Cincinnati Public Library, a really cold winter, a homeless population, and a moral decision.
Yeah. So it sounds like Cincinnati's doing pretty well with the movies.
Dude, they're crushing it. Yeah, There was a time a couple years ago, where I kind of weighed the option. Do I leave? Do I go to a bigger market? Do I try to, I don't know, tap into more opportunities, et cetera, in like LA or New York or Atlanta? But I ultimately came down to the fact that no, it's kind of, I like being here. This is home, and I have the opportunity to help build something versus just kind of exist in an already built area.
Right.
So, and I'm really glad I did, because this area is really up and coming.
Awesome. Came at the right time.
It did. Yeah. So we'll see how that goes, but that starts the end of this month and goes through the end of February. Yeah.
Sweet. Well, I'll see you at the end of February.
No doubt. I'll be we got our shoot, and then I'm booked.
Yeah.
Well, cool, dude. Anything else you want to touch on, add, subtract?
No, I would just say, go check out Eddie on the FDB website. Mm-hmm. And,
That's about it.
That's about it.
Well, cool, dude. Thanks, as always, for coming on the show. It's been great catching up. We're going to do some catching up later on. And to all our listeners out there, yes, go to ftbpodcast.com. Watch the Eddie film by Brad Golowin. It's only going to be on our website, nowhere else. And weigh in. Let us know what you think about it on Slack, on Twitter at FTB Podcast, Instagram the same. And we'll catch you next week.
Cool.
Cheers.
Thank you.
This podcast was recorded live at Sound Images Studio. Find out more at soundimages.com.